feel. And I liked that because it wrapped all the way around my tiny little fingers. She just, and I ended up giving birth, and Alex was with me. I do remember that. I told him not to look because, in movies, things happen quickly. Start it over again.
Keep going.
Um, in movies, things happen quickly. Deaths happen quickly and things like that. That's not what happens in real life. So I told him not to look, and the nurses thought I told him not to look because that he didn't look normal. No, I told him not to look because that was my way of saying, okay, goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. He's not alive, he's dead. Well, he actually was alive. It was a live birth. And they wrapped him up and they brought him over, and he looked like Alex. I don't know if you can tell, but Alex has like a little upturned nose. Like if he turns to the side, there's like how his nose upturns like that. And that's what Kale's nose looked like. Um, his skin wasn't fully developed. You could see his veins, you know. The pediatrician came in and said, I'm just gonna tell you the truth. We can hook him up. We can do everything we possibly can to keep him alive, but there's no guarantee. You could also just let him pass peacefully. And I don't know about Alex, but that was probably one of the hardest, most difficult decisions I've ever made in my life. I asked God, I said, God, I don't know what you want me to do right now. I don't know if you want me to try and save him or if you want me to let him go home. And still to this day, there wasn't necessarily a clear answer, but I couldn't imagine trying to keep my baby alive and him being in pain and not being able to know that he's in pain. Because another thing the doctor said is that he will make the motion of breathing. And he did, but he wasn't really breathing. It was just, yeah. Were you going to say
Just
something?
hard
I
hearing it
know.
all over
Yeah,
again.
I know. After 12 years.
You just wanted that little boy to be able to breathe.
Yeah.
That's even what the doctor said. They just kept saying, if he could scream, if he could make noise, that would show some sort of
Development.
development in his lungs that he'd have a better chance of living. But it's just not easy. Everything that Lauren went through was it was so much harder for her because she had to carry him. And you know I had a conversation with my best friend and just talking about how hard it was because we only had 2 hours with him, and I didn't want to pry him out of his mom's hands. Sometimes I have regrets that I never held him, but I don't have any regrets that he passed away in Lauren's arms because it was just so much. It was a very traumatic experience for for both of us. And then, was it the exact same delivery room? I think it was.
It felt like it was the
I
exact
think it
same
was
one
the
when we
exact
had our
same
youngest,
delivery room.
when we had our now rainbow baby. Um, it was hard, and the doctor came in every once in a while to check for his heartbeat. And part of me just wanted the agony to be over. And another part of me didn't want it to end. And I was so angry at God for the longest time. I was angry at Alex because I felt like he left me emotionally to deal with it by myself. We still had 2 older children at home. I had to pick up, strap on my bootstraps, or strap up my bootstraps and keep going, because I was not necessarily all the way there, but I was there. Had to take them to school, had to pick them up. It took a long time. I didn't take communion for 6 months because I was so mad at God. Like, you're the Almighty. You're the one that can cure cancer, bring people back to life, and you couldn't heal anything for me. And for a while, I thought it was because of my past. I thought it was a punishment for my past. But God brought that back to me and said, that is not it. Unfortunately, everybody lives in this sinful world, and none of us are immune to this, what sins cause. So we buried him in our local cemetery. We have somewhere to go and visit. But it's taken a lot of time and a lot of healing. I know that we found out after getting pregnant again a year or so later with our last child that I was losing amniotic fluid. I did not know that at the time. There were just things that were going on, and Kale probably would have been born with so many issues. And again, not that we wouldn't have done it and loved him, but that probably would have broken our marriage. I mean, it's amazing that we went through that and God brought us out of it still, because there are lots and lots of couples that can't survive things like that. They resent each other. They get angry at each other. They blame each other, even when they don't realize that that is the reason why they're resenting and blaming. So we came out of it. But it is probably the hardest thing that I have ever had to go through, and I'm pretty sure Alex has ever had to go through. I can't give you directions on how to heal. The only one who can do that is God. And how he does it is specifically for you. How he did it for me is specifically for me. I did eventually start taking communion again. I did eventually get back into my Bible again. I was scared the whole entire pregnancy with my youngest. I think I probably drove Alex nuts with all the fears and everything, and that I would die this time, because that is common as well. Women die during childbirth, even though with all the medical things and stuff, it's just how it is. We live in a sinful world. But, and I believe God gave me this vision, when I get to go home, not only is Jesus going to greet me at the gate, he's going to have my baby with him too. He's going to say, welcome home. Come give your son a hug. And I picture him with my red hair. Can't really tell. I have auburn hair. It used to be a lot redder when I was younger. And Alex's little Whoville nose. I call it a Whovian nose. Because I know he's there with Jesus. And I know he's whole. And I know he is not hurting. But it's taken me a very long time to get there. And I don't resent Jesus. I don't resent God. I don't resent my husband. But we've had to go through a lot of therapy and a lot of prayer and a lot of just raw emotions. I think the thing that probably made me the most mad is probably a couple of weeks afterwards, I ventured out and somebody from my church looked at me and said, "So when are you going to have another one?" I wanted to smack that lady in the face. Y'all, seriously, please watch what you say to people. Please think about the things that come out of your mouth. Because at that time, I wasn't even fathoming it. I was still trying to get up every day and brush my teeth and not smell like a dog. We had a lot of great people at our church, though, that came together for us and loved us. And I know this has been a really long episode, but you just can't get through it without talking about it in detail, because it's not rainbows and sausages.
Thanks for sharing
I didn't realize I was going to be the one that was talking the most, but I guess I had to be because it happened to me mostly. It happened to you too. But so, anyways, I have his verse, Romans 14:8, tattooed on my foot with his little feet. His little feet were about this big, and so he walks with me. Because I was afraid for a while. I'm like, I hope he's with Jesus. But he is with Jesus, because he didn't have a chance. And he had parents who dedicated to him even before he was born.
He was named. We love him. He's not here, but we still love him. Sorry, I'm a man of few words today. This is not an episode where I can cut up much. It's hard, and like Lauren said, yeah, at first when everything went wrong, I blamed her. I wanted it to be somebody's fault that we didn't have our son, but it wasn't either of our fault. And the other thing is, it's taken a dozen years to realize that God still gave us a blessing of a live child. Not every parent gets that. I saw my son alive. So did Lauren. That's something special. It wasn't a long time, but we'll be able to hold on. Those weren't always tears of joy, but he was here, and I love you, and thank you for continuing to work through it as hard as it is to have this conversation. I felt like it needed to be shared, so I'm glad that God put it on your heart.
Love you too.
Love you.
So,
Gotta wrap it up.
Yeah, otherwise it's gonna cut us off again. Know that the pain, the ache won't go away completely. We still feel like there's somebody missing from our family, and we do sometimes still wish he was here with us. But God does heal wounds, and he makes the aches and pains less and less, and he gives us the promise of, seeing him again in heaven. And that's what we have to hold on to. If you're going through this, I pray that you can come to healing, and any guilt or anything that you may be released, that God releases you from it. If this is causing turmoil in your marriage, I pray that God releases your marriage from this turmoil. I think that's all we got.
All right.
God
Thanks
bless.
for tuning in. Please click like. Please subscribe. Have a good one.
Bye.